Hey everyone, today we're going to walk through starting a 504 plan for a student that does not have a pre-existing plan. So the first step to do is to search our student. So I'm just going to search a student. We're going to use Callie here. Then what we're going to do, the next step is we're going to our programs tab. Here you're going to do start program. And you're going to choose section 504. We're initiating a request, and then we hit next. In this section, all you're doing is you are ending this. The end date is the same day that you're starting the initiation, and you're going to click initiate with a referral. The transfer with pre-existing 504s is done in a previous video and already posted. So right now we're looking at starting with initiating a 504 referral. And then we hit finalize. It'll tell us that there's no validation issues, and we hit finalize again. And then we're going to close it. Enrich will immediately take you back to the programs tab, and you can see as you begin this process, as you go through each step, the next process will pop up. So our next thing is our referral. So we're going to hit create. And this process is to determine if a 504 referral is needed. So here again, we have our start date. We'll use today's date as the referral. This is going to be done in a 504 meeting, so make sure you've already scheduled it, and that information will pop up here. We'll complete when the notice was sent. So we're going to say we sent this to mom and dad a couple days before. And we are going to check which one this applies. So if we're looking at, we're going to do discuss and review eligibility for 504. Here we're going to put our parent contact. The parents responded. And then what you'll do is you'll actually complete all of this information too. So who is the referral source? Let's say we said it was the parent. And we're going to put this information in here, we'll answer each of these questions, describe the behavior, the presence of the impairment, the universal interventions that have already been tried, existing data review. Do you need additional information? If you say yes, you can check which information you need. If we say no, then you don't have to check any of that. And it tells you enter update meeting information in the conference summary. So you go back up. So what's nice about the new universal is the conference summary that's here. So it's almost like, it's like meeting minutes. Just be careful in what you put in there. When you're typing in, you don't want to put everything that's said, but you want to put enough so we understand what's happening. And then this all gets sent home to the parent. So the 504 team went to review the need for a possible 504 evaluation for Johnny. And then you can put in the remainder of it, whatever else happened for next. So for the purpose of this, we're going to actually say yes, that a evaluation is needed. And we'll just say we're going to want some academic evaluations. So here we'll say today's date. We're going to say we need additional data and that we are getting consent. And then finalize. So now again, as you see, Enrich is going to take you through the next step. So you have the evaluation report and the eligibility. So the first thing obviously would be the evaluation report. The reason for this is an initial, although it may be a reeval. So depending on your situation, you would choose. So right now I'm going to choose an initial, and I'm going to click next. And again, I'm going to fill this out, or whoever did the evaluation. So we'll put academic. And we'll put the date completed. We'll do this. What was the resulting information? We could say based upon documentation kept by general education teachers Johnny is struggling with the following tasks in the classroom. And then you could put completing work on time, attention to task, let's say. Attention to task. This is impacting, first I have to spell right, this is impacting his ability to complete assignments in all classes, thus affecting his grades. Something along those lines. However, whatever the data shows and how it's impacting. And you can see as I'm doing, I'm a bad typer and speller, so you can do spell check. You also could click this button here, which would do a spell check. So I do recommend you do that. Excuse me. Just because that way we have correct spelling on things. So here we go. We'll say I did the evaluation. So here are things you have to answer. So general information. So what is going to be affected by this? His inability. So we say yes, it's in his ability to complete his work. In-school assignments. He may need some testing accommodations. He doesn't have any of those. Doesn't have any of those. Yes, he has some planning issues. So again, you can see as we're just going down, we're going to check that applies. And then our outcome. And then you have three choices. It's either complete, it's halted because the parent revoked their consent, or it's halted because they left the district, but we're going to say we completed it. And then we finalize and we close our evaluation. Again, Enrich is going to pop you back, and now you have the eligibility determination. So again, this is an initial eligibility. Click next. Select our meeting. And now I'm going to fill in the eligibility. So this is an initial evaluation, initial eligibility. Is the student new to the district or entering with a pre-existing? We're saying no. So when you see you say no, all of this pops up. If we say yes, none of that pops up. So if we're saying no, we want to know some of this information. So what other things that are in the folder? So report cards, state tests, curriculum-based measures. Does the student have a mental or physical impairment? So if we're finding them eligible, we say yes. Identify, describe the impairment of the supporting data. Difficulty learning and maintaining academic, no, I'm going to change that actually. Impacting student in the classroom with academic work completion and time on task. Again, you're going to put what's appropriate. Is this temporary? No. Is it episodic? No. Does the impairment limit an MLA, which is a major life function? Yes. What is it? So here's all of our choices. And we're going to say learning. And then the degree. Is it extremely, substantially, moderately, mildly? We're going to say moderately. In terms of the frequency, intensity, and duration, does the impairment substantially limit? So yes, it does substantially limit. That's how they qualify for a 504. And then we have our choices. So is the student eligible and requires a 504? Is the student for a 504 eligible but does not require? Or the student is not eligible? So let's see when we click require, and we'll put in our end date, 5/28, and then we're going to do eligible with a 504 plan, and we're going to hit finalize. And then we close. And now we've got the 504. So then what you're going to do is, as a team, you're going to complete the 504. This is just like you would do in our previous 504 program. You just go through and you answer all the questions. One thing that is different I did want to point out is when you click what accommodations, you'll see this new box that says criteria for evaluating. Here we want to know, how are you going to evaluate if this accommodation is successful or not? So what is the measure that's being utilized to evaluate if the accommodation is successful? Okay, when you're all done, you would hit finalize. I'm just going to hit save because I do want to take a chance to show you what happens when you don't qualify for a 504. So your schedule, remember, your start date, your end date is going to be 1 year out and 1 day prior. It's good for 364 days. So this 504 actually will expire on 8/27. Okay, so if I hit save and then I hit close, you can see now I have my 504 and I would complete that. But what I want to show you, this is something you all don't have the ability to do, but I want to show you what would happen if we chose that the student was not eligible for a 504. So I'm just going to do an administrative edit here and change this piece. So now here, when I go into eligibility, I'm actually going to change and say they're eligible without a 504. I would choose this one, student is eligible for 504, does not require. And then I'm choosing this one, and then I'm going to hit save. And then close. And then close again. Because what I want to show you is that in your chevron, what's going to happen is you're going to see this. You're going to see year review, eligible, no plan. So this in our universal system is a nice little added feature for those students who are eligible but don't need a 504 plan. Your chevron is going to come up that tells you, hey, by 8/27/21, you all need to re-meet and re-look at this with this student. When we pull reports in Enrich, we'll be able to see, you'll be able to get this pulled up in a report as well. And we'll do a report webinar at a later date. But this was just, I just wanted to show you the difference between if you found them eligible and if you didn't. So that is the basics for starting a new referral and initiating a 504 for a student that doesn't have a 504 and transitioning or existing into this system. It is the same as our previous system. The steps are the same. There's just a few added features, bonuses, and bells and whistles, so to speak. So if we go into add action, we can look at some of those. So you see there's a conference summary, which is really nice. That's where you can keep some of your notes during the meeting. There is a healthcare provider statement, which is where we can request information from the doctor. We can have it filled out right at the meeting and then send it to the doctor ourselves, which is nice, saves a little bit of time. There's that teacher acknowledgement form still, our input form, teacher input form. Everything else is the same. They did add the manifestation determination review to this program. So when we have those students that are over 10 days or up for expulsion that have 504s, we can do that process as well. So there definitely are some bells and whistles. And we're really excited about them. Again, we'll also be able to do some additional reports, and those will be put out later in the year once we have everybody in the system. Once we have everybody transferred to the new Universal 504, then I can start creating the reports and doing a webinar on what they look like and what they'll show you. So hopefully you found this helpful. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to Susan or I, and we are here to help.